Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, litALLday. Thank you for joining me. This is the second installment of Trial Watch with Demetra, where we watch these trials together. Not normally watching them live, but we would normally watch them like a day or so into the trial, so we can have the luxury of fast forwarding and all that good stuff. Good afternoon, Walsey. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for subscribing. So I am very happy to bring. I'm trying to look at this. Hey, Winter. So you guys drop a one if everything is okay with the volume, the sound. Okay. I am right now trying to do one last thing on my phone with this live. I have gotten a headache working with this today. One of my clips for the very first clip I needed, child, the opening statement. I didn't even have no sound on it. Okay, so, but that is what it is. I hope you guys are off to a good day, a good start. So y'all can hear me. Thank you. So this trial, I picked this trial for us to do is the state of Ohio versus QUINTON Nixon. I chose this trial because one thing really sticks out to me, right, and caught my attention. In this trial, the defense, QUINTON Nixon, 34 years old, I think he should be 34 right now, he is actually representing himself, pro se, okay? And they say a defendant who has himself as an attorney is a fool, has a fool for an attorney, right? Or something like that. So I am really interested in how he conducts himself and how he carries out this murder trial in his own defense. Hey, Leo, I'm looking forward to that challenge. I wasn't in the first charcuterie board challenge. If you hadn't heard Leo's live, I posted it on my wall. She gave the she just gave like the information for the second annual charcuterie contest that she's gonna be hosting this year. She hasn't given a date yet, but the link to that video is absolutely on my wall. Okay. In case you're new here, I am Demetra litALLday. This is the Demetra litALLday channel. We like to call it litALLday. Please remember to like this video and share this video in case you know some folks who might like this type of content. I am taking forever because I'm trying to monetize my video, right? Let me stop talking for a moment. That's part of the reason why I can't do it. Okay, let me stop talking. I cannot do two things at one time. Okay, let me see. Okay, so what I can do is go ahead and show you guys the news clip. Let's get started with that first, and then we'll jump into these opening statements and talk about it a little bit. Let me open here. Boom. All right. This case is currently in day
Breaking news alert.
2, maybe.
This man right here, wanted for murder. Breaking at this hour, Akron police just released the details in yet another heartbreaking shooting. Our Kelly Kennedy talked to investigators as well as the family who's desperate to get justice for their loved one.
It's been nearly a month since 34-year-old Tony Westover was shot and killed in cold blood. Akron police have just issued an arrest warrant for QUINTON Nixon. Now, he is armed and dangerous, so if you see him, don't approach him. Just call police.
That day, my whole life was shattered.
This is the man that Akron police believe is responsible for Amy Perry's sister's murder. Take a look. This is 31-year-old QUINTON Nixon. He's 5'11" and weighs about 195 pounds.
She was my best friend. She's the one I call when I want to tell her how life is going or how bad it's going. And now I don't have that, and it's not fair.
Tony's father, Chris Westover, says his daughter's death broke him, and he wants her killer to pay the price.
All I have left is this is my daughter that I can have, and I got to hold for the rest of my life, and you took my daughter's life from me.
Police say the 34-year-old was shot to death at a home on Maryland Avenue on July 25th. Her father believes the suspect police are looking for is connected to his daughter's boyfriend.
I think it was her boyfriend that got her involved in all this.
I discovered Tony's boyfriend, 35-year-old Brian Fielders, was charged with obstructing justice just a few days ago.
I just hope nobody ever has to endure the pain that our family has endured.
The 34-year-old medical assistant leaves behind a 7-year-old daughter.
She loved being a mother. Her daughter was her world.
Now the family just holding out hope that before long, Tony's killer will be behind bars and they can finally start to heal.
It's so hard that every morning we get up and we think about her and we know she ain't coming home. I get calls from my daughters, they cry. You gotta talk to them, you gotta help them out and help them through it. And it's hard to do. I mean, it's hard even to talk about anymore because when you get it and you think it's okay, and then you got to worry about, is he going to get caught?
There is a $5,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. Now again, that man is armed and dangerous, so if you see him, contact Akron Police or Summit County Crime Stoppers.
So it's safe. Let me go ahead and say just like a what it's called, spoiler alert. You know, he was on the run for a few days there. You know, maybe almost a month, I believe. And they actually had to call out the SWAT team, and they found him hiding in the attic at some house, and they had to go in just guns a-blazing for him. And this defendant, QUINTON Nixon. Now, this happened in Akron, Ohio in 2021. The shooting was June 25th, and the trial is just starting yesterday. I think it's the second day here now. And so that's just one of the clips to kind of give you guys a recap. I want to jump into the opening statements from the state of Ohio versus Quinton. I want to go and do the opening arguments from the state. And then, like I said, one of the most interesting things about this case is that he is actually defending himself. Of course, we want to give our condolences to the family that's grieving for the victim, Miss Toni Westover. She left behind her daughter and her family that grieves her loss, okay? So one moment. Let me hit mute. Let me answer this call.
Here to hold the defendant, Mr. Nixon, responsible for the actions he chose to take. We are here to hold the defendant, Mr. Nixon, responsible for the actions he chose to take. We are here to hold him accountable for what he did on June 5th, 2022, and July 2nd, 2022. The state will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Mr. Nixon, committed the crimes of improperly handling a firearm in a motor vehicle, murder with a firearm specification, and there are 2 counts, felonious assault with a firearm specification, and tampering with evidence, and that these acts were not committed in self-defense. Before I get into what happened and who all was involved, I want to take a minute to talk about self-defense, Your Honor. Self-defense, as the court knows, is the defendant saying, I did it. It was me. I did it. I just had a legal justification for doing it. Your Honor, self-defense is when the defendant was not at fault in creating a situation giving rise to the affray, and the defendant had reasonable grounds to believe that he was in imminent, immediate danger of death or great bodily harm. And the defendant had an honest belief, even if mistaken, that he was in imminent, immediate danger of death or great bodily harm. And the defendant was in a place he had a legal right to be. And I know the court realized I emphasized the word and. All of those, as the court is aware, must be present for the affirmative defense of self-defense.
Hey, Taylor. Hey, Barbara.
The state will prove beyond a reasonable doubt, as stated, this was not self-defense. So the state will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was at fault in creating the situation giving rise to the affray. Or, that may be a 2-letter word, but it is very important, or the defendant did not have reasonable grounds to believe that he was in imminent, immediate danger of death or great bodily harm. or the defendant did not have an honest belief, even if mistaken, that he was in imminent danger of death or great bodily harm. And lastly, or the defendant was not in a place he had a legal right to be. And again, I stress that word or, because the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt just one of those criteria, just one, and the affirmative defense fails. And if that affirmative defense fails, you're left with, I did it. It was me, with no legal justification. Now, what happened and who all was involved? On June 22nd, 2022, Your Honor, at 809 Kenmore Boulevard, multiple 911 calls were received regarding shots fired. The callers gave a description of the suspect vehicle. When the officers arrived on scene, they saw the defendant driving a vehicle that matched. Once the defendant stopped and the officers approached the car, they saw an AK-47 on the driver's seat. More ammo was found in and about the car. The defendant was arrested and he was Mirandized, Your Honor. Under Miranda, he said, people are messing with him. He thought people were pulling up on him. However, he also admitted to firing multiple rounds in the air and that he bought the rifle from a guy off the streets and carries it for protection. Your Honor, you will hear these 911 calls and see the firearm that the officers found on the driver's seat. Now, what happened on July 25th, 2022, and who all was involved? Well, it was at 2260 Maryland Avenue. Who all was involved was Angel McClain and Ronald Crew. They were both living at 2260 Maryland Avenue. It was actually Angel McClain's apartment that Ron Crew had been staying with her, living with her for quite a while. You also have Adam Wright, Ashley Broughton, and the defendant, Quinton Nixon. They all had been staying there visiting between 1 and 3 weeks or so as well. Finally, you have Brian Fielders and Tony Westover. They had come over that day, July 25th, 2022, to visit. Now, you have about 7 people in this tiny apartment, and I believe I call it in the house. It's an apartment, Your Honor. In this apartment, small apartment. Everyone was doing drugs. Their drug of choice was meth. They were doing it multiple times a day for multiple days prior. Everyone was getting high, feeling the effects of getting high. They were enjoying themselves. They were all getting along and having a good time. There was no arguing, no fussing, no fighting, Your Honor. The defendant was high, and due to lack of sleep and the effects of the drugs, and thinking Tony was the police, he grabbed Tony's gun. Now, how did he know about this gun? They were in the living room, Your Honor. Tony needed something out of her purse. That gun, she emptied the contents on the table, and there was the gun. After he grabbed that gun out her purse, a tussle ensued. Tony tried to get her gun back. He pinned Tony up against the door, the wall by the door, by her hair and neck, and he shot her, Your Honor. Again, prior to this happening, everyone was getting along. Everyone was no arguing, no fighting, no fussing. Now, he shoots Tony on the base of the neck and the arm. Brian Fielders and Adam, who was out there in the living room kitchen area, tried to help because the defendant was waving the gun, pointing at everybody. They tried to help. Brian Fielders tried to wrestle him and even bit his lip and bit the defendant on the cheek, on the face. And he'll testify to that. Adam, who had his own weapon, pulled his own weapon and tried to stop the defendant. Evidence and testimony will show the other individuals I named in this small apartment were in the back bedrooms, Your Honor, at this time. They will testify that when they heard the ruckus and the noise, they came out and looked. They will testify they saw the defendant have Tony pinned up against the door area, the wall, by her head, with a gun close to her, pointing it at her. And as soon as they fled back into the rooms, they heard the shots. They heard the shots go off that killed Tony. Now, once this happened, everybody, again, smoking, a lot of individuals had warrants, they decided to flee. They jumped off the balcony that is connected to Ron Cruz's room. As the defendant fled the scene, Your Honor, he took Tony Westover's gun and her purse, dropping the purse as he hit the ground, leaving it. No one was caught that day. No one was found that day. Prior to that, individuals were interviewed, with the exception of Adam Wright, who was recently interviewed. The defendant, Your Honor, was arrested approximately a month later on August 24th, 2022, at 525 Gridley Avenue. The defendant was arrested after a standoff with the police, and SWAT had to be called out. Chemical agents were deployed in the house because the defendant was hiding in the attic in a small crawl space. By this time, the defendant had changed his appearance to try to evade capture. He had shaved his hair and his facial hair. SWAT did successfully apprehend the defendant that day, and he was interviewed. He was taken to the station and interviewed. Evidence and testimony will show that the defendant made admissions, and he changed his story multiple times in this interview, Your Honor. In the beginning, he never fired a gun. That it was Brian saying Tony was the police. That he did not leave with a gun. Later, he admitted he had a gun and dropped it or lost it while he was running. He admitted using meth that day. And he said he shot Tony because they made it seem like if I didn't shoot her, they would kill me, Your Honor. The defendant said Brian, with his eyes, by the way he was looking at the defendant, told the defendant to shoot Tony. Your Honor, you will hear the 911 call. You will see the video of the individuals jumping out the balcony. You will see the photos from the scene. And you will have the medical examiner's manner and cause of death. You will also hear testimony from Angel Wright. The state is anticipating you hear testimony from Angel McClain, Ronald Crew, Ashley Broughton, Adam Wright, and Brian Fielders. Those are the individuals who were in that apartment that the state anticipates the court hearing from. Based on that evidence and testimony, Your Honor, the state is confident that you will find this defendant guilty of improperly handling a firearm in a motor vehicle that occurred on June 5th of 2022. You will find him guilty of the murder with the firearm specifications, both counts, felonious assault with the firearm specification, and tampering with evidence that occurred on July 25th of 2022. And most importantly, that these acts were not committed in self-defense. Thank you very much, Your Honor. We're here to hold the defendant, Mr. Nixon.
Okay, what y'all think about this opening statement, okay, from Little Miss State of Ohio State Attorney, right? Prosecutor. I'm going to say she is very much so into enunciation, projection, and driving home her point, right? And I had just typed, let me say, hey, welcome to the Live Foot Soldier, Keisha, Bishop, Trizette, come up here flirting with me, okay? Hey, Kurt Vixen, thank y'all for joining me. I already know y'all hit the like. I appreciate that. We are just starting into our trial watch. This is our second installment of Trial Watch with Demetra. This is the state of Ohio versus QUINTON NIXON, okay? So QUINTON NIXON is charged with a barrage of charges, felony with a weapon, unaliving his victim, Tony Westover, a young mother, single mother, and assault. Okay, and this is the state's opening. The state made her case and saying, hey, we got a bunch of different charges and we're going to be able to prove either all of these or, and she emphasized or, they definitely going to be able to prove a couple of them. And then she goes on to state what happened that day. We find out that it was all started at an apartment where it's 7 different addicts in the house. In a small 1-bedroom apartment, they got 7 meth addicts up in there smoking and getting high. Now, the state attorney just said, everything was going fine up in there in that house with all them smoking and everything. Everybody was getting along. It wasn't no problems. Everybody was happy. And my mind says, shoot, you can't put no 7 addicts in the room no matter what type of drug they doing and don't have no problems. Okay, that's a stretch. That's kind of complicated. You can't put 7 people who ain't on drugs in a small apartment for too long and don't have an issue of some sort. So we went on to describe how some type of altercation started. The defendant, Quinton, actually took the gun out of the victim's purse and shot her with it. Then he fled and went on the run. Now, at this point in time, when she making her opening statement, I'm like, dang, she doing exactly for me. She doing exactly like a prosecutor supposed to doing opening statements, right? So as she laying down her case and what she gonna show, I'm sitting here saying, dang, how he gonna fight that? Because she doing a good job laying it out. If I was supposed to just make my decision right now based off of just what she has accused and what she finna prove, I would already, if this all I got to choose his fate, I would find him guilty. Not they had to go find him. He didn't turn himself in. It took some time. They had to put a $5,000, hey, Lady Steph, thank you for joining. They had to put a $5,000 reward out. They had to put a APB out on him, armed and dangerous. They had to take him down with the SWAT team, no less. He hiding in somebody's attic. Now, I'm assuming he finna claim self-defense, right? But if his self-defense claim and what he's saying, if what this lawyer, this prosecutor is true, and he finna say that them people made him shoot this woman because of a message of a perceived threat by their eyes, he got a long road to hoe. Cause she just said that nobody told him to shoot him or they'll kill him. Nobody said that to him according to her. But he got that message from the other people that was around. By the look in their eye, he knew he had to shoot her or they was gonna shoot him. I want to see him make this case for self-defense or what have you. And again, the reason I chose this case is because I want to see him defend himself. He does not have a defense attorney. He is going pro se, which means that he has opted and been approved to defend himself. You will see a lawyer there to the right of him, but that's a court-appointed attorney that's there to assist him. But he is absolutely defending and representing himself. So let's go ahead and get into the defendant, Quinton Nixon's. Let's get into his opening statement. Let me pull it up here. And thank y'all for joining me. Today we're going to just do, we're not going to do all the hours and hours today, right? Yeah, he defended himself, Taylor. We're going to do the opening arguments. We already did one. We're going to do one other thing after the opening arguments. We're going to do the 911 calls. The first deal was the 911 calls. And then I'll meet you guys again for part 2. Okay? I don't want to give you guys so much at one time. Okay, so let's get into his opening statements. Okay, let me open this up here.
Grand Rising, ladies and gentlemen of the court.
Grand
The
Rising.
case that is being presented today by the state of Ohio is not murder, nor is it felonious assault, things aren't always what they seem. This case is a case of facts, truth, and common sense. It is not murder if it is self-defense in defense of others. It is not felonious assault if it is stand your ground. It is not my responsibility to prove defense, self-defense, or defense of others or stand your ground. It is on the state to prove it wasn't. I will ask this court to put aside emotion as much as possible with respect to the victim and pay attention to the facts and hear the truth. The truth is the truth. You can't hurt the truth. You can't help the truth. Only thing you can do is hide the truth. And the truth is the state is attempting to hide the truth. I, Quinton Nixon, am not a convicted felon. And me not being a convicted felon, I'm allowed to carry a gun. But I did not have a gun that night of this incident. I was in complete fear for my life. And through testimony from several witnesses, as well as exculpatory evidence, I will be able to prove without a reasonable doubt that my actions were justified in the provisions of law. There are questions that need to be answered. Such questions would be, what is a procedure when someone brandishes a weapon? What do you do? What is a procedure when someone puts a gun to your head? What do you do? And you don't have a gun. I have my OPATA, Ohio Peace Officer Academy certificate, which my job of choice was armed security that I did for several years. And human nature, when put in situations like that, it is either fight or flight. And
Lord, he done
I'm
lost
being
his place.
persecuted
Hey,
because I
CEO.
chose
Hey, everybody.
to fight for my life. I chose to stand my ground. I was legally allowed to be where I was at. I could never have started the situation or the fray if I didn't have a gun. The state claims that I was high. There's no proof of me being high. The only proof of anyone being high is the person that is deceased, because it was found in the toxicology report. So through testimony from the state's witnesses, as well as my testimony myself of the actual events that happened that night, I would be able to better prove my argument of self-defense and stand your ground. Excuse me, Your Honor. There was a room, a house, or an apartment full of people. I can't speak on what everyone was doing. I know I was legally allowed to be there by the woman who came and picked me up from my home. These same people would tell you that I'd never had a gun. These same people would tell you that I could have never just went crazy. You don't just see people with guns and go crazy. And you don't have one. That makes no sense. I did give an inconsistent testimony or statement or however you want to call it because I was beaten by SWAT. I was barricaded in a wall, and they did throw gas ammunitions, which burn your skin. I did lose consciousness when the police stumped me out. I was under duress when I gave those statements. But the truth is the truth. And through the witness's testimony that the state calls, you will be able to hear the truth. And I just asked for a fair trial and asked everything in its totality of the circumstances be taken into consideration. I'm not a violent person. I'm not a monster. This wasn't planned. This wasn't calculated. This was self-defense. I was being jumped and beaten. For what reason? Maybe it was because I was dealing with the woman whose home it was, and her ex-boyfriend was there. I don't know. You can never start the situation if you don't have a weapon. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Easter, you may call your first witness.
Okay. The litALLday jury, okay? What do we think about the opening from pro se attorney himself and defendant QUINTON Nixon? You know, what do we think about his first opening statements here and representing himself, right? So he charged with murder. His victim was 34-year-old Tony Westover. This happened in Akron, Ohio in June. I said June 25th. I'm sorry. It's June 5th, 2021. Okay. He charged with the murder of her. He charged with a felon with a weapon, assault. I think multiple of charges. Hey, Miss Step 219. But the biggest charge, the most weighted charge, of course, is the unaliving of a Miss Tony Westover. Now, I feel, did I say hey, Miss Step 219? Thank y'all for joining me. Hey, Sean P. Hey, Tracy. You know, I feel like he was off to a good start, right? To me, he was off to a good start when he was reading off his paper. Right? The moment, right, I can give you, okay, so let me give you guys a quick recap of the case. The case happened in Akron, Ohio back in June 5th, 2021. From the opening statements, it was 7 people in this apartment there. They was all, this is, now I'm basing this part, the background on the opening statements from the prosecutor. And so, it was, and he said it too. They was all in this apartment, and they was smoking meth. He's saying now he didn't smoke meth. For some reason, an altercation jumped off, and the defendant, QUINTON Nixon, took the gun, got into an altercation, a struggle with the victim, Tony Westover, whereas he ended up taking her gun, out of her purse and unaliving her. She lost her life that day by her own gun. He then fled the scene. And they took him a while. They had to put a bolo out on him, armed and dangerous. And they finds him with the pistol, with the gun. But they only found him days later. And they had to use the SWAT team to go in the attic where he was hiding to get him out. So that's what's happened in the long and short of things is that, for some unknown reason, an altercation broke out amongst a bunch of people doing drugs in an apartment, and the victim, Tony Westover, rest in peace, was unalived. Now, the defendant is also his own attorney. He is representing himself. And we just heard the opening statements from the prosecution of the state of Ohio, and then we just finished hearing from the defendant, QUINTON Nixon. Right? And that's what I see. Let me go back and read some of these comments, right? Lady T say, Lord, the attorney can't do nothing with him. And then we say, no. Taylor say, no, he didn't do to set it off. Okay, yes. Not Lady T say, Lord, go off, Frankie. Right? So we see from his positioning that it was self-defense. Number one, he wasn't spoken to. He legally can be at that apartment. They brought him there. He not trespassing nothing. Number two, he ain't had no weapons. This is according to his opening statement. He didn't have no weapons. We found out from his opening statement that his legal background, legal background stems from the fact that at one point in time he obtained his Ohio, criminal justice something certificate, and he chose to be a security guard. Right? That's what he said. So boom, we get his background in his legal deal, right? What makes him, I assume, prepared to do this. Now, mind you, he is claiming to not even be or not have been a felon at the time. One of the state's charges is felony in possession of a firearm. So that's very interesting that the state bringing the case in one of the charges is felony in control of a weapon, and he's saying he wasn't even no felon. So that's very interesting. Like, how can there be any confusion about that, right? Like, how can there be confusion? Now, I feel like he was doing good until he lost his place in his notes. Hey, Ronnie Q, he either lost his place, and look, you can tell when he lost his place in his opening statement. And then from that moment when he lost his place, child, he started freestyling it. Okay? He started freestyling. Okay? Tracy say, Lord, he mixing up his testimony with his opening statement. Right. He started going on a little bit of a mini tangent. And that's because instead of him taking the time, I think he should have took the time to properly find himself in his notes. It wouldn't have hurt him to take a 35 second moment of silence while he looked through his notes and find his place. We saw the prosecution, and she a licensed, agreed attorney. It was like she lost her place for a second, and she regained herself. Found her footing. You know? Lady T say he did a little to set it off. Maybe he shouldn't have added some scenes. Wait a minute. He did a little of set it off. Maybe he should add some scenes from Chicago with a touch of Harlem Nights to jazz it up. Girl, stop. Now, y'all saying he did. What part was to set it off? Kurt Vixen say he need a lawyer because he did not give a good opening statement. Right. Now, mind you, he has an court-appointed attorney there with him, but when they're doing pro se, the appointed attorney can only help answer him or instruct him on the legal proceedings and rulings, you know what I'm saying, and rules of court. That court appointed attorney can't tell him how to present his case, if you get my drift, right? Let me see. Tracy say he needed to be careful because protection will use his word. The prosecution will use his words against him. Absolutely. He started digging a hole for himself because that's that moment when he started almost testifying, right? And he started talking about he actually did some victim blaming too. He definitely blaming the victim, right? Lady Steph say, and he elected for a bench trial. Thank you. I forgot to say that. Versus a jury trial, right? Plus he's pro se. This man needs to pray to the court, Jesus, for a win. Okay, thank you for bringing it up. I forgot to say that. I keep forgetting to say that. The reason they sitting around this little table and stuff like that is because he elected to have. Okay, Lady T, he elected and chose to take his chances with this judge. Which a lot of the times it's kind of like commonplace understanding that it's better to go with a jury of 12 and be able to try to sway a few of them than to try to sway one person, which is the judge, who is absolutely there to uphold the law, absent of any type of human feelings, thoughts, personal. The judge is more trained in sticking to the law than you would ever find a person in the jury, right? In the jury, they're telling you to put aside your own thoughts, put aside your feelings, only think about what's being presented to you. And you really, the jurors really try to do that, but they not trained professionals in keeping out their feelings, their emotions, their perceptions, their experience in life. They bring that with them anyway. So he really trying it, right? Taylor say, when he said, what's the procedure when you have a gun to your head? I think at that moment when he said that, you know what I'm saying? I think he was I heard him mention a couple of times stand your ground, so I guess he's definitely going for stand your ground and self-defense, right? Court appointed attorney doesn't hardly go to trial. They usually push to settle. Right, but he don't even have a court appointed attorney. He got a court appointed attorney representative there because of the fact that he's defending himself. He has no actual attorney on record. He is his attorney, which is the pro se. Okay? Lady T say he's what's the procedure when a gun is to your head? Oh, that's from Set It Off. Y'all know I don't be knowing all the movies. What's up, Room Shaker? Sean P say, yeah, I think I would just have to take my chance with the jury. Me too. Tracy say I would ask for a jury. Me too. Everybody, Miss Steph 219 say she would ask for a jury. Me too. You got a better chance with a jury than you gonna have with a lawyer. Okay, I think that's just common knowledge and just like what we understand as a society and with our judicial system, that I'll take my chance with 12. Okay? What's they saying? I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Okay? So let's go into the first thing that the state is going to do, and we're going to listen to this, and then I'm going to close out this live, right? And it's still early. I may come back. I think I'm going to come back and do the body cam footage with you guys on part 2. But this time, with the second installment of my trial watches, I want to make sure that I never go really long. I want to make sure I break it up in easy to take in portions, right? So that's what I'm trying to do. And of course, I will put the playlist link on my wall after this. All of these videos, these lives are going to be going into the playlist, so you guys can follow. If you miss a part, you can just go straight there and catch what you missed, and they're not going to be too long. Okay, thank you guys for enjoying this content with me and supporting this content. Next up, we had a state, which is going to be the prosecution. Is not going to be that lady who did the opening. It's going to be a male, and he's finna play the 911 calls. Okay, and that's how they started their case.
22 hours, 31 minutes, 34 seconds.
All right, let's go.
I can.
Akron 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Now, I'll probably be pausing sometime now that the opening is over.
Come on, Bubba. Someone shooting a gun right next door to me.
Okay. And how many shots did you hear?
106.
And did you hear any fighting or any vehicles screeching off?
No.
Okay, you said it's coming from right next door?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anonymous.
And did you want to meet with the officers when they come out?
No. I'm in my anonymous.
He said,
Come check the area.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Brooks, is that one of the phone calls that you were able to access?
Yes.
And is that an accurate recording of that phone call as you reviewed it?
Yes.
This time, the state will move to place State's Exhibit 2, Your Honor, which is the second 911 call.
You may.
June 5th, 2022, 22 hours, 31 minutes, 36 seconds.
Akron 911, what is the location of your emergency?
Hey, somebody's out here on the boulevard shooting guns.
Okay, what area?
It's a corner of 10th Street and the boulevard. The dude lives right on the community center side. He just walked over there. It's an AR-15 or something.
Okay,
He just fucking busted up. Yeah.
Did you actually see the weapon?
Yeah. He's fucking getting in his car right now.
How many times?
And he's leaving. I'm gonna tell you, it's a gold Toyota. It's a gold Toyota. He's pulling out of the house. He's pulling onto the boulevard right now, man. And he is.
Which direction?
I'm waiting for him to pull out. I'm hiding behind a fucking cement pillar on my front porch. Oh my God. He's shooting at some dude on the boulevard. Oh shit. Is this dude coming back now? Oh shit.
How many shots did you hear?
Oh, probably fucking 9 or 10, 11 maybe. He's just sitting in the car. He's got no fucking care. He's got no fucks to give. He don't care. He's out in the middle. He's just sitting in his car, still talking shit to somebody. So.
You said you seen an AR-15?
Yeah. Huh?
You said you seen an AR-15?
It's a fucking, yeah. I mean, I could just see the silhouette. He's hanging it down. It's fucking, yeah. It's got a long barrel. Yeah.
Okay, so he's still sitting there?
Yeah. He's fucking sitting there right now. I don't know if he's waiting for the dudes to come back, but there's a cop. Oh, no, that's not a cop. Oh, my God, man. He's pulling out and he's heading down the boulevard towards Circle K. He's heading west down the boulevard. It's a little Toyota Camry. It's tinted black windows. There's a girl and a guy in the car, a white girl and a black guy. They actually live right. Huh?
What's the description of the vehicle? I mean,
It's a gold Toyota Camry. Probably like a 2000, 2001. And it's got tinted black windows, and he's just driving down the boulevard. Wow. It's amazing how fast the police got here whenever the police were getting shot at. It's like, wow. I can't believe that the cops are not even fucking worried about what the hell happens in Kenmore. It is just ridiculous. Well, I'm going to get off of here because, I don't know. It appears that nobody really gives a fuck, all right? I'm in my house. I'm fucking hearing bullets out.
Your Honor, just for the record.
Baby, he didn't work himself up into a frenzy, okay? Welcome to the chat, Bird. Welcome to the chat, Linda G. Thank y'all for joining. This man here, we heard this is the second 911 caller, right? The first one was the neighbor right next door. He sounded real kind of scared, it sounded like an older gentleman. He trying to whisper, right? The second 911 caller, he outside his house, like across the street. He seen him coming running out. He see the gun. He see the people. He giving an excellent description. The only thing he didn't give about this car was the license plate number at this point, right? And he is very emotional. He real escalated. And as he give his information to the 911 caller, I think the 911 caller is operator is kind of frustrating him because she asked him to repeat stuff. He didn't say it already twice. He didn't already say it 2 times that that it was a Toyota, a gold one. He's being perfectly clear about what the hell he see going on. Okay? And I can't believe he talking and doing all that and he hiding. I would have had to tell her, look, ma'am, you gotta wait till he drive back off before I finish telling you, okay? Because he talking kind of excited over there to say he hiding behind the pillar on his porch. And so at this point, I'm going to go back and push play. I'm going to continue it. But child, at this moment, he started thinking about, because he a neighbor. He like, God damn, the cops, I just sat on here and talked to you for 2-3 minutes. Where the cops? When they was shooting y'all was here fast. At this point, he don't even want to talk to Mo. Okay? At this point, he don't even want to talk no more. Now, I don't know, Lady Steph, if I heard him say the N-word. I don't think I caught that. But, you know, I might have been tripping off a couple of other things. You know what I'm saying? Because he'll trip. But he a good witness. And I just want to make this one statement real quick before we continue. I'm starting to get worried about where I live, right? I'm starting to worry that I must live in the real hood, right? Because even myself, I done heard gunshots several times. And I never think to call the police and say, oh, I just heard some gunshots, right? I have never once done that. And then the different times I didn't heard gunshots, you know what I'm saying? I have never seen like the cops come and check out nothing. So does that mean nobody around here call? Lord, pray for us in the hood, okay? Because we don't even call the police around this place. Anywho, let's continue. Yes, Miss Steph 219. I think she was frustrating him. Tracy say he is definitely gonna be a witness, right? You know, Lady Steph say he was hiding. The first man, let me say this, the first man, the little older sounding man, the little timid sounding man, they talk about can the police contact you? He say, nope. Don't contact me. I don't know nothing. Y'all lucky y'all got this call. Okay? Let's continue.
Because this does keep going, I'm just going to stop it at 3 minutes and 10 seconds with the court's allowance.
Any objection?
Okay, I cut back in again. I think he gonna stop the rest of this man call because that man went on a whole entire tirade. You know what I'm saying? Rant. I think that man got the cussing and hollering and talking about new mate. I think he just went off the chain. That's why he said, okay, look here, we don't need to hear all that. Okay? Let's continue. I'm going to let it play.
Mr. Nixon, do you want it played in its entirety?
Yes, Your Honor.
He said, yeah, play it.
I was never in a vehicle.
No, we're not arguing about the facts. I'm asking you,
Child.
he wants to stop playing this 911
yeah,
tape,
no, there's no
or do you
objection.
want it played in its entirety?
Oh, yes, I would like to hear everything.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The street, I called 911 and
yeah, let's hear it.
asked me a bunch of dumb questions. Where are the police?
Okay, I'm asking you questions so we can try to find this vehicle and these people in it, sir.
Are the police coming, or have you fucking transferred that yet, or what?
I told y'all.
I already have to call in. I'm just getting information.
Hey, Jaya. Good to see you.
Well, I just gave you the information. They just fucking drove away in a gold car, and they sat there for...
Okay, sir.
Wow.
We're getting someone out there, okay?
No wonder everyone's fucking carrying guns now. I'm about to fucking get one.
I'm glad to see you been missed,
People
girl.
walking out on the boulevard. Anybody could have been just fucking hit by any bullet.
Sir, we have multiple cars coming into the area, okay?
Yeah. Where are the police?
They're heading towards that vehicle.
When there's a fire, 10 cops show up to a fire, but no cops are coming to a gunshot.
Now she getting the attitude with him.
Man.
Sir, the police aren't where you are because we went going after the vehicle. You said it pulled off, so they went there,
Yeah.
okay? And it looks like they already caught them, okay?
Well, good.
Yeah. We found them. They were calling, okay? I appreciate you.
Yeah, this ain't the first time. This happens right here at the boulevard. This is probably the fifth time in the last couple of years that shit like this has happened. And nobody does nothing. I got jumped out here and some people trying to rob me, and when the police came and the guys, all the black guys took off, and I'm sorry, I'm white and they were black. They were all black guys that took off running. They were jumping two innocent white people because they couldn't catch one white guy that they were trying to jump. And then when the police show up, the police throw me down on the ground and treat me like a criminal while they watch all them run away. All right? Then they never came back, let me file a report or anything. And one of the bystanders, somebody that came by and seen me getting put down on the ground by the police. She's standing there, and this female cop is insinuating that I'm a big fucking drug dealer out here and that it was a drug deal going bad. No, it was 6 black people fucking jumping on 2 white people, and nobody does shit about it.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's not
You'll do something if once I get a gun and fucking start shooting somebody when they jump me, then you'll do something, right?
I'm sorry to hear that.
The police need to do better. You know, I'm talking to you. I need to go down to City Hall and do something. I'm gonna.
Did I or did I not say that he probably went on an entire rant and that he probably got to talking about the replacing the mayor and all that? Mind you, I'm doing this live reaction with y'all, right? I told y'all, I am just too good at this. I knew that this man went on an entire rant, and by what he was already starting off saying, I knew that rant would take him probably talk about he had to go to City Hall and all that type of shit. If he not careful, if this 911 caller is not careful, the cops might end up picking his butt up for terroristic threats, okay? He can very much so keep talking and talk himself into a terroristic threat charge. Period. Lady Steph say, look here, yes, he said the N-word, okay? He just want to bitch about something, okay? Tracy Whitehead say, we have shots fired cameras out here. When shots are heard, they are automatically alert the police. They had those out here. That's a good topic, too, for another day. They had those out here in Houston over around the 3rd Ward area, high crime area. And they had a lot of argument about that was being, about that, the shots fired cameras. We'll talk about that. Let me write that down. That's an interesting topic for another day. Let's see. Tracy White say he's not going to be a good witness for prosecution. Well, he'd probably be a good witness once he didn't calm down. You know, but right here, he's still hiding behind that doggone cement pillar. He ain't seen no cops yet. You know, he frustrated. And then come to find out they didn't jump him. All the black men out there didn't jump him, okay? He a white man just trying to live his life, and they trying to jump him because they think he a big drug dealer. Okay, let's continue.
Get a band of fucking people to go down there and protest at City Hall because you guys are fucking turning a blind eye to Kenmore, and it's ridiculous. Well, I'm glad that you guys got them.
we did. You know, your description
Well, good.
was okay, so I don't want you to think that we didn't care. That's why I was asking you all those questions so we can try to find them.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm out here. Somebody's got a high-powered fucking rifle out here shooting rounds off, and the police. I mean, I've seen the police come speeding up the fucking boulevard because there's a fire. Okay? 10 cop cars, and yeah, I've just seen there's just too much crazy shit that goes on around here, and it seems like nobody does shit about it. So, and I am an ex-felon. I do everything I can to, I haven't been in trouble in 30 years. I do everything I can to
We can tell.
All right? And I try to do the right thing, and then I hear I'm getting jumped out in the boulevard and being told I'm a fucking drug dealer. It's fucking stupid.
I appreciate you. I thank you for calling, okay?
Well, I appreciate you, and I'm sorry. I'm just fed up with this. I'm just, yeah. And I know it's like this all over the city. It's getting bad everywhere.
Good question, Tracy. Y'all look at Tracy's question. Excellent.
Bye.
I think it was more than one weapon, though. I think it was a pistol and an AR. Come to find out.
Was that also one of the calls associated with this report?
Yes.
And what I just played, is that an accurate recording of the 911 call that you reviewed?
Yes.
This time, Your Honor, State would move to play State's Exhibit 3.
You may.
2022, 22 hours, 31 minutes, 40 seconds.
Akron 911, operator 207.
Hey, I have a guy walking down the road. Hey, get out of the window, please.
Where?
I got a guy walking down the road, 10th Street Southwest, with a. It looks like a short barrel shotgun pistol grip.
Okay,
I just heard about 4 rounds go off.
You have.
I'm sorry, what?
Can you describe this guy to me? Is he white or black? White or black?
He's leaving. He's black.
Okay.
Maybe 5.5 foot tall, 5'8". He's leaving in a silver car, turning right on Kenmore Boulevard from 10th Street.
Which way did he turn on the boulevard?
Well, he's sitting right now. He's looking out of the car now.
Is he by himself?
He went into did he get in the driver's seat, babe?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the driver's seat, so I'm assuming he's by himself.
Okay. Is the vehicle on? Is it running?
Yeah, he's at the stop sign.
You didn't happen to see the plate on there, did you now?
I can't know. I'm about a block away.
What is your name?
It's too dark. Josh Myers.
Silver sedan.
And it's a silver 4-door sedan.
And you don't know who the guy is?
No, we're sitting here watching TV, and I heard a couple rounds go off, and it sounded really close, so I looked out my bedroom window, and he was right there at the end of our road, right on the boulevard, walking back and forth, hollering and swinging the gun. He's turning left on the boulevard now, towards us, going towards like the library and everything.
Do you want the officers to stop and talk to you there, or no?
Yeah, that's fine.
What is your address?
Just because they list their address, Your Honor, if it's okay.
You may.
Skip that portion.
Yes.
Okay, and for some reason, I don't know why, but I cut that off right there. You know, I was up late last night trying to get this ready, not making no excuses or anything, but that's why that stopped right there. So that's what I wanted to do, you guys. I wanted to go ahead and complete getting some more testimonies and stuff from this very first day, but I figured that this would be a great opening for us. We heard the opening, or we saw the news clip, which I'm going to play that again, giving like a recap of what happened. We saw the opening statements from the prosecution. We saw the opening statements from the pro se attorney, which is the defendant, one QUINTON Nixon. This happened in Akron, Ohio. Okay, the state started out by calling up the cop, the cop to confirm the 911 calls. And the 911 calls so far, the first 3 was pretty interesting. You know, they definitely had witnesses that could eye who they saw that night, you know. And one of the witnesses was right across the street. They got a good time because the neighbor called and said, you know, he just heard it. So they got a good timeline forming, right? So, you know, what do y'all think? Y'all interested in this case? Oh, so he was out there acting a fool. Right, he was. And then, you know, he say he was there, but he say he ain't had no weapon. He ain't got nothing to do. He didn't kill no. First he said he didn't shoot nobody, but then in the opening statements, if you guys came in late, please, Red Ball is back. In the opening statements, the prosecution say that he told the people when he got arrested that he shot the woman because he perceived a threat in self-defense, and that the other people that was there made him feel threatened for his life, and pretty much if he didn't shoot her, they was going to shoot him. And the prosecutor said, he went on to say they didn't tell him that threat, but he perceived that threat by the look in the other people, the guy's eyes. Okay? So if y'all missed the opening statement from the prosecution, please, Red Ball is back so you guys can catch that. You know, so do y'all think this interesting? I think it's interesting. Taylor say, I'm definitely interested in his defense of himself. That's why I picked it. That's absolutely why I picked it. I picked it because he defended himself, and it's a bench trial, right? I haven't listened to. I'm listening to stuff with you guys, right? I only listen to it and get the clips and stuff. But I don't sit and listen. I want to learn the case as you guys learn it, right? Lady Steph say, interesting case. He's an idiot. Curious to see how this will all work out. Absolutely. Keisha Bishop say, wow. I know, right? Tracy Whitehead say police get away with that defense. Well, he ain't no police officer. He say he got a certificate of some type of law thing where he could be a security officer, an armed security officer, right? So I'm real interested to see how this is going to turn out too, and the mechanics of the case, right? How they going to have to correct him? Will he be able to contain himself? Is he going to stay professional? I'm really interested in that. I don't think it's any type of way in hell he gonna be found innocent. Let me just go ahead and say that now. I don't think there's a chance in hell that he gonna be found innocent, right? I mean, I just don't. He's up against a lot of stuff, right? Even with people that's in have the best of attorneys, it's an upward fight, upward battle, you know. So it's stacked against him. So this is the part 1 of Trial Watch with Demetra, State of Ohio versus Quinton Nixon. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get together everything, the clips and stuff, so we can get through the entire first day. I'll be more prepared on tomorrow. Oh yeah, we're going to stay on this. We're going to do it each day. You know, unless I don't anticipate any more, you know, y'all know I got some different things going on, right? So I'll let you guys know. But either way it go, we're going to go through each portion of this case together. And I don't anticipate I don't have any other meetings as of now. I don't have any other duties I have to take care of outside the house. So we should be able to have a good few days going straight with this trial watch. And I'll be able to start earlier. My intention is to come on right around noon. Right around noon each day, Central Standard Time, my time. That's my intentions, to come on at that time of day and go like 2 hours. Okay, so that's the end of part 1. We're gonna pick off exactly where we left off. And thank y'all for supporting this type of content. You know, this month we're getting really revved up for this case here. By the time those big cases come out this month, which is the Sarah Boone trial, the suitcase trial, and the Madeline Soto, that 13-year-old girl that came up missing, and then they found her body, and then come to find out it was they charged the stepfather, Stephen Stearns, with her murder, right? By the time those 2 big cases roll out this month, towards the end of the month, I should really have this down packed, right? I should have my flow together. I should be able to just do this. You know, I should have all the kinks worked out on how to do this trial watch with you guys, right? So thank y'all. Just keep coming back. Keep sticking with me. And we will be back tomorrow for Trial Watch with Demetra. We're going to be on day 1 still of this case. In real time, they on day 3. Okay? All right. Don't nobody go get no spoiler alert. Y'all watch the trial with me, okay? All right. I will see y'all later. I'm coming back on this evening. I'm doing a members only chat, but I'm going to have a public live with just only the members can type, and we're going to finally play that game I set up for y'all. Shoot, cook, or run. So be paying attention for y'all notifications. litALLday Pit Crew is only us gonna be in the chat. We're gonna have a good time. All right. See y'all later. Thank you for coming. Of course, I don't